We're back to Neil Haley's show. And, this my guest today is going to talk about Running on Empty, that's going to be out in August. I have filmmaker Daniel Andre with me. Daniel, how are you? And this is an interesting film, but I want to kind of find out how you got involved in it first, because I
Sure.
watched it, I laughed, I really like the storyline and the futurism of it. It was intriguing and it really made you think. But how did that start?
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Neil. Yeah, it kind of it's a big thing when you're trying to figure out what to make for your first film. It's something that, I probably could still be sitting here thinking about if I didn't just kind of go with my gut or with what kind of came up. Um, so I kind of, for my first film, it was really, I wanted to do sort of an homage to like films left of center that I kind of grew up watching, that I've always enjoyed. I mean, going way back to like Five Easy Pieces with Jack Nicholson, After Hours, Scorsese film, Punch Drunk Love, Paul Thomas Anderson, that kind of stuff. So those films, a lot of the films that I love like that, you know, there are plot heavy movies and there are story heavy movies. And I really want to do something that was story and character driven versus, getting into like complicated layers and this and that and whatever, where it's really just about the journey of this person or these people. And that I just wanted to do something that kept the audience sort of present and on the journey with them rather than, that's why I think I've said it's sort of like an anti rom com.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it seems like everything could go wrong. What did go wrong with this character at the beginning? And you're going through this process, but you're laughing and you feel you're so glad your life is not like this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's, I think a key great point for like cinema in general. I mean, that's what it's there for. It's there to make us think and to make us feel good. And sometimes even to make us feel bad. But the whole reason it makes us feel bad is so, we grow in some way as a person from storytelling.
So how'd you come up with the storyline? Like how that storytelling come, and especially I like the futuristic thing because there are things almost like this now where it can tell your death date with like how medicine is changing so much with these DNA tests you can take, or
Yeah.
these different swabs that can tell you exactly when you're going to get cancer, when you're going to get certain things, and kind of set up a health plan for you so you don't get cancer at 60. You don't
Yeah.
get these certain things. We're getting there almost.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was, kind of why I wanted it to sort of take place, a little bit into the future, or maybe it's just it's more of a world. It's our world, but it's skewed a little, and that was kind of inspired by probably most, if not all, like Kaufman films, where there's a fantastical element, but the film isn't about the fantastical element. The film, it's just part of the story. And that was really kind of important to me because I could have made a movie that just focused and beat you over the head about like a death date and why and how you can
Yeah.
find it. But if you think about it, if that was a real thing, which who knows, it might be soon, it'll just become part of society where we're accepting of it. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's when I'm going to die. I would rather not know, but I want to get a loan on a house or I want a tax credit or whatever. So I'm going to have to know. So, and
So,
that's also what I was pushing for was more of a world of normalization of like death, a
right.
more accepting world.
Exactly. All right. So, yeah, and that's important to look at because especially depending on what our belief system is and life after death and what happens and all these different things, it makes you think about it and the celebration of it. So, because when if you're going to die, are you going to change your life tomorrow? So, you tell the story, I guess, the premise of the movie without getting anything away, as we won't do that for sure, but we'll break down some of the specifics, but tell us the premise.
Yeah, so the premise basically, Mort is a sort of lukewarm guy. He's a mortician. He's kind of felt complacent in his life. And in order to buy a house that his kind of trophy fiance wants, they have to get their death date done, which, it allows, the theory behind that, it essentially allows, well, give you a tax credit or a better rate on your mortgage. Um, if you get the home. So he's sort of forced into this predicament and finds out he actually has a lot less time than he thought he had. And then with coming to terms with that, his family also kind of pushes him to get back out there and, start dating and then at least enjoy the time you have left.
Right. And then he finds certain things and it's hilarious and some of the characters. And I think that the funniest part of the movie is specifically enough that he just instead of like living your life to the fullest, he's like, no, I'm not. I know what my death date is, and that maybe that has to do with what his job is at his family's mortician, where he would kind of really make it kind of creative, right? I like that whole idea of the creativity of what people went through after they died to be presented to their loved ones compared to a casket, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what's funny, I guess I'm not even sure where that concept or that part of it came from. I don't know if I found it before or after I came up with it. Is it actually is a real thing? They have, instead of, in my script, we call it adventure funerals. But if you Google extreme funerals, you can find them, and they're people on, they'll put them on their motorcycle in, in the funeral, or doing something like Mort says in the film, something they love doing. It's a real thing, and I think, that to me was, it reminded me of when I was, I think one of the few funerals I've ever been to was my grandfather's. When I was 10 years old, my grandfather passed away, and we went to his funeral and we went to the wake. And I went up, my mom took me up to the casket to view the body, and my mother was upset, and she touched his hand, and I just remember almost like shooting out of my body of being freaked out, because the whole thing was just so weird and bizarre, and like that wasn't my grandfather, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's not how I would want to remember him, or that's not how I would want anyone to remember me. And so I think that kind of made the emotional or personal connection for me.
What'd you think of the cast, how you cast everyone in the movie? What are your thoughts after the final product?
Yeah, I full-heartedly believe in the movie gods. And the movie gods are, the entities that allow projects like this to get made. And, the cast, it's funny for me as a director, I try and be as open-minded as possible, because it's sort of like expectations or resentments in the making, right? So if I have it in my head that only this actor can be this, or it has to be this, or whatever, not being open to whoever's supposed to land in that role landing in that role. And so that said, when I look at it now, when I look at the film, like everyone is supposed to be there. Everybody is supposed to play the role they were supposed to play, regardless of what I might have thought when I first conceived the film in my head.
Right.
And so to me, I mean, I give that credit to really the movie gods. It just, everybody who was supposed to come and play the part they were supposed to play came and did it an amazing job.
All right. So tell me the who played who of the you're talking about Mort, who was played by Mort and different things, so people know
Mm.
some of the cast you have for the film.
Oh yeah, so Kira Gilchrist from the Netflix show Atypical plays Mortimer Mortensen, and then Lucy Hale plays Kate, who works at the dating service, who is just an amazing actor, amazing person. Jay Pharoah from Saturday Night Live, Jim Gaffigan, Monica Potter, Francesca Eastwood, Reese Colroy from Entourage. It's really just I couldn't have asked for, not just as far as like their stature or whoever, but just as far as like good, dedicated people to their craft who were kind enough and saw something in my project to kind of come in and put their name on it, and to kind of be a representation of this story.
You really put together a pretty all-star cast, supporting cast with the stars in this. I mean, thinking
Yeah,
of some of the people that we love in so many shows, and I agree. Some of their parts just really were funny. It was really funny. It was funny and sad
thank
at the
you.
same time. And the ending, oh, I guess everything that you were able to put it all together in a very, very good film. Where are the best place people can find it when it comes out?
Yeah.
It's coming out in August. What date?
Yep. It's coming out August 9th in select theaters, so limited theatrical. There's actually, for those who might be in LA, there is a screening with a Q&A at the Laemmle Royal Theater in Santa Monica on August 5th. And you can find tickets online right now for that. But the theatrical will be August 9th, and then we move on to digital release on August 27th, where you can find it on iTunes, Amazon, and all the digital platforms.
Oh, awesome. I mean, like I said, I laughed. Congrats on it. You know, I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And it makes you think. It makes you think you better live your life to the fullest and not look at sacrificing for other people, because at the end of the day, it's about how many more days you have left on this earth and what can you do to make it fun for yourself, but also make joy for other people. Live life to the fullest. Appreciate it. Thanks, Daniel.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All
much.
right. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show. We'll be back in just a moment.